Hi everyone, we have a new plugin for Cinema 4D. A lot of users have been waiting for this plugin for a very long time. We now have released a beta version. Feel free to visit our GitHub page. We'll have a link placed on our website so you can visit this page. On this page, we have instructions on how to install the plugin and then how to retarget the data to your character. Make sure you download the latest version. Currently, we have a 1.00 beta version. So I have this version already installed on my computer, but let me show you where you should have it installed. In Cinema 4D, navigate to the Edit menu, then select Preferences, and then select Open Preference folder. Go into the Plugins folder and you'll see that I currently have my plugin unzipped here. So let's close this window and everything's been set up. Once you restart Cinema 4D, you'll find a plugin under the Extensions menu. You'll see we have Neuron Mocap Live. Here in this panel, we'll have everything and options that we have ready to go. Before we get started, we want to make sure that we have Access Studio sending Bbh data so we can start getting our data into Cinema 4D characters. So let's go into Access Studio. You see here that we have currently the sample project currently open. I have the regular finger movement open. You can use PN Studio data or PN3 data. So let's go ahead and open this. Go into the Edit menu and we're going to play this animation back and loop it. Now let's set up the Bbh Broadcasting. Go into the main menu, Settings. Under the Bbh Broadcasting, we can enable Bbh Capture if we have a connected hardware into Access Studio. In this case, we are only doing playback data. So we'll need to go into the bottom here where it says Bbh Edit, and we have that currently enabled by toggling on. We're going to select Access Studio for the skeleton. We're going to enable Displacement. We're going to select Binary. We're going to select also TCP or UDP. For this video, we're going to be using UDP. So once you select UDP, we want to keep an eye on the local address. Since we're going to be using the same computer, we're going to have just send the data through the local host. If you have this computer as a Mocap host in the network, you want to select the IP address. We'll keep it as is through the local host, and we're going to locate the destination address port number, which is 7001. So this is ready to go. We'll go ahead and click on OK. Inside of Cinema 4D, we have the plugin currently open. We have different sections. We have the connection settings, skeleton building, and recording. Let's focus on the connection settings. In the protocol, we have options to select TCP or UDP. We'll leave it at UDP. Under the IP address, we'll leave the local host. Again, if we have a static IP, we can update this as needed. Under the port number, we'll leave it as 7001. Under the skeleton, if you click on the options, we have two different options to select from. If you're using Access Neuron or Access Neuron Pro, select Access Legacy Skeleton. Since we're using Access Studio, we'll leave it at Access Studio. Now we have a connect and a disconnect button. Before we even click on this button, let's make sure we have a skeleton in our scene. So we can create a skeleton Access Studio or Access Legacy skeleton. We'll create an Access Studio skeleton. Let's put this aside and we can see now we have a skeleton in our viewport. If we go to the Objects menu, we can expand the bone hierarchy here and we'll see that we have a skeleton already set up for us to receive our data. If we click on the tag, the little neuron icon here, we'll select that. We'll see that the plugin has already auto-populated a lot of the bone information during the retargeting process, and we also have some information that has been predefined for us. If you see here, we have the character option, we have the name. We need to match this name from Access Studio. If we go back to Access Studio, you'll see that our character's name is currently Daniel. So in order to bind this data, we need to update this. And I'll add this here under the character name. In a joints control, we have detect joints map. Our plugin will auto detect any joints naming that matches the human IK from Maya. As accordingly, it'll set up the T-pose, clear joint map, go to the T-pose. These are when you have a custom character, but since we already created from the skeleton binding, a lot of the options have already been done. And all we need to do is go ahead and click on connect. Once we click on connect, we'll see that our character now is receiving data from Access Studio. And now let's import a Maximo character. So I'll go ahead and disconnect this so that we don't crash anything here. So I'll go ahead and disconnect this so that we can move to the next section here. And I'll go into File and we're going to import a character from Maximo. I'm currently using the XBot character. Click on Open, click on OK, leave the options for default, click on No. And now we have the character's mesh and rig information here. Now, in order for this character to receive the Neuron Mocap live data, we need to add the tag. And we'll go ahead and right click and select Neuron Mocap live. Now we have the same options as before. We remember we need to update the character name. So we'll add this as Daniel. And we have the options to select the different bone information by expanding the bone system here, and we'll click on the little eyedropper and match it one by one. However, since this character is matching the human IK Maya skeleton, we'll go ahead and select Detect Joints Map, and you'll see that most of the information has been populated for us. Now we need to do is update the T-pose of the character. We need to fix the thumb for the character, so we'll go ahead and zoom into the thumb. And in this case, we're going to update it by selecting the information here. We're going to go to -40 and put this to 30. Based on your character, this may be different, but this is kind of the update that we need to do for the Maximo characters. We'll go ahead and do the same thing for the right thumb here. And now our character T-pose has been corrected. Once has been corrected, we're going to inspect everything, make sure that our character is following this T-pose that was required for Access Studio. We'll go ahead and select the tag again. And now we're going to set the T-pose. We'll see that now we have a little T letter next to the bone, and we need to scale the root position. Once that is done, now we can click on connect, and we'll see that our character is now receiving data from Access Studio. So that completes this video on how to use our Cinema 4D plugin. I hope you guys enjoyed and create some great, amazing stuff.